With everyone's favorite collectible card game turning 25, Wizards of the Coast is adding to the celebration with a brand new pair of Duel Decks that knows exactly how we want to party, by pitting two of Magic's most well-known tribes against one another and having them duke it out to see who's stronger. Psst, I'll give you a hint. So, how does this Duel Deck set stack up? Well, let's crack it open and see what's inside. Inside the box, we have our two monocolored decks, the serene, nature-loving Merfolk in blue and the scheming, explosion-happy Goblins in a stylish red. Each of these comes with a themed deck box, an appropriately colored life counter, plus we have a fold-out informational pamphlet, and our standard quick reference guide. Breaking into the Merfolk deck first, we can see that our fishy friends have a deck built around evasion first and foremost. Creatures like Master of the Pearl Trident give their fellow Merfolk island walk and are backed up by cards like Aquitex Will, Streambed Aquitex, and Tidal Warrior, which transform a target land into an island. Add in Tidal Courier's ability to fly when the Merfolk player has 4 mana, plus a misdirection to throw a crafty Goblin player's attacks straight back at their face, and you've got a recipe for some slippery Merfolk. That's not to say that everyone's favorite aquatic tribe can't pack a punch, though. Master of the Pearl Trident, Wake Thrasher, Merfolk Sovereign, Streambed Aquitex, and Marrow Reegery all have abilities that can buff their tribe mates, and if played late enough, Master of Waves can bring an army of elementals with him, and immediately buff them all. The most exciting cards in the Merfolk side have to be the headlining foil Master of Waves, Marrow Reegery, Wake Thrasher, Master of the Pearl Trident, Misdirection, and the reprints of Tidal Warrior and Tidal Courier, which haven't been seen since Stronghold and Apocalypse respectively. So, that's the Merfolk, now on to the Goblins. In keeping with the usual blue-red matchup, the Goblin deck is comparatively quite simple. The Goblin deck is based around burn, and punching your opponent right in their face. You've got big goblins in this deck, you've got little goblins in this deck, you've got goblins that make other goblins bigger, you've got goblins that make more goblins, and you've got Krenko, who just makes exponentially more goblins each turn he's on the field. Warren Instigator, Goblin Rabblemaster, Krenko, Krenko's Command, and Hordling Outburst all help to bring a flood of the little critters down onto your fishy foes, while cards like Goblin Chieftain and Goblin Tunneler make those other goblins harder to kill. With a relentless assault thrown in, those Merfolk better not get comfortable, or they'll drown in a tide of goblin bodies. The cards to keep your eye out for on the Goblin side of this Duel Deck set have got to be the new foil edition of Warren Instigator, plus Goblin Charbelcher, 2 copies of Tarfire, 2 Goblin Ringleaders, Krenko Mob Boss, Goblin Rabblemaster, and the Goblin Chieftain. With the decks out of the way, let's take a look at where you'll be storing them. The deck boxes included are the same type that we saw in Duel Decks Mind vs. Might. Nice and spacey for all your cards, with more than enough room left over so that you can even keep them sleeved inside. Each box is made out of cardboard with a color indicator on the lip of the lid, and art depicting its tribe on the opposite side. The only issue I have with these is that the flaps holding them together can sometimes be a pain to get in the right way. And they can and will push your cards up and out if they come loose. Now what about that insert? Well, like we saw in Duel Decks Mind vs. Might, the informational insert has some very lovely art, plus a brief description of each deck, the deck lists, and a blurb on the 2 tribes on the reverse side. So, Merfolk versus Goblins. Who will win? Personally, I think the sheer numbers of the Goblin give them an edge, but played right, the Merfolk could easily dominate. But really, there's only one way to find out. So, whose side are you on?